We did go to all sorts of places. I interviewed royalty. I interviewed Princess Anne actually at Buckingham Palace, and she's a darling. She is. I interviewed Queen Noor twice of Jordan, who was an absolutely wonderful woman. We went to the Vatican. And I've got to tell you this, we decided we were going to do the programme from Vatican Square. Easter Day, drive the satellite, the little van with the satellite dish on the top, Vatican Square, and interview all the pilgrims on their way to Mass at St. Peter's Basilica, you see. Well, very difficult for us to get into the Vatican Square. At the time, you needed to talk to a man by the name of Archbishop Foley. He's still there. He's now Cardinal Foley, an American, and he was in charge of all the media. He had a secretary, a PA by the name of Miss Weeks, and she was a terrifying woman. Apparently, before she worked for him, she worked for a blacksmith. She used to hold the horses upside down while he put the shoes on, you know, so you can imagine what sort of a person she was. We couldn't get permission to go in. We were too far down the broadcasting food chain, you know. Had we been television, or had we been Radio 4, but we were Radio 2, you know, she didn't want to know about us. So in the end, we went over our head. We spoke directly to, or the producer did, spoke to Archbishop Foley, and he reluctantly allowed us in. And one of the songs, because we played music during the programme, one of the 14 pieces of music we played was the Vatican Rag. Do you know it?
Was that accidental or on purpose?
It was the producer who did it. And he goes, first you get down on your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head in deep respect, then ginny flick, ginny flick, ginny flick. And he went raving mad, and I think Radio 2 is still banned from the Vatican.
I can believe it.
But that was a great programme. We did some, and we of course we took 3 pilgrimages to the Holy Land. Right. 3, 1996, 98, and 2000. And on the last pilgrimage, we took 360 pilgrims, 8 coach loads. That was the biggest pilgrimage that's ever been to the Holy Land, and we had a wonderful time. And it was wonderful to take these people who dreamt about going to the Holy Land for years, to see them in Jerusalem, to see them in places like on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, breaking bread on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, walking where you think, hang on, Jesus walked here on these, you just can't get your breath, can you? Right. You can't.
But that came to an end, didn't it? You
got the sack.
You got the sack.
Yeah.
You were pushed. You didn't jump.
No. A lot of people have written to the BBC and said, why on earth did and they get a standard letter that say Mr. McLean decided that it was time for him to leave, to move on. No, I didn't. They told me I was surplus to requirements.
Yeah, and I mean, but that must have been very difficult for you to take. Is there any bitterness there, or are you able to overcome and deal with that?
It's not difficult for me to take at all. It's their bat and their ball. If they didn't want me to play, that's fine. If they wanted the programme to stay as it was, they wouldn't have got rid of me. So they changed it. They put a younger presenter in. To a certain extent, it became less religious. I think maybe at times I was too religious for religious broadcasting. They wanted to become multi-faith. I was prepared for it to be multi-faith, but I still wanted it to be a Christian programme that paid due deference to other faiths. Yes. But I wasn't there to proselytise on their behalf. Yeah. I was there to say, I'm a Christian, this is what I believe. One of the first things I did when I took over the programme from the Reverend Roger Royal did it, lovely that is. One of the first things I did was, they said, is there anything specific that we're not doing that you think we should be doing? I said, well, it's Sunday morning, nobody's praying. And they said, and I quote, oh, we never thought of that. So I used to do these prayers just prior to 8 o'clock. I used to do a minute and a half of prayers, which I can only call topical prayers, really, that I used to write every week, and they were to do with what had gone on during the week, or it might be a particular week, or it might be Battle of Britain Day or something, and I did those, and people loved them, and people used to record them and use them in their own services at 11 o'clock in the morning after they'd heard them at 8 o'clock, and that was great because we were providing a public service.
And more recently, this press release has come out where once again you have actually said, I think more or less, that you feel the BBC has become quite anti-Christian.
Oh yeah.
What makes you feel that, and what can we do about that?
Well, the thing the question that was asked of me that elicited that reply, that response, was about a Muslim him being appointed as head of religious broadcasting. Now, I knew the man who was head of religious broadcasting because a bloke called Michael Wakelin, a devout Methodist. His mother is a Methodist minister, and he was my first ever producer on Good Morning Sunday. I know him well, good friend. Same thing happened to him that happened to me. He was told, no, you're surplusary Parliament, you've got to go. No reason, not you're doing a bad job. He, I believe, was trying to get them to say that they were getting rid of him because he was a Christian, but of course they're too clever for that. But that's the reason, I'm sure. And you know, we're a Christian country.
Don, bless you. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm sure our viewers will as well. Bless you. Thank you for your time.
And bless you too. Thanks.
So there's a serious side to every comic, and it was great to hear some of the stories behind the news that you know about as far as Don is concerned. And certainly I found that day down at Christchurch and with the team down there, we found ourselves laughing again and again, and of course they were cracking jokes off of set as well. And you know, maybe you're feeling for some reason or another at this time of year a little bit depressed, and yes, the Lord is the answer and we would never move away from that. But you know, sometimes if you can find some great clean comedy, some great comedy shows that you can just sit and laugh over, it's amazing how much that can lift what so often is a heaviness upon us. The Lord wants us to have laughter within our lives, and it's not just to cover up, because there's a deep answer in Christ, and we deal with that so many times, but there's another answer in that laughter. But as they say, there's more. There's more. And who else can that be but our next guest, my next guest, that I thoroughly enjoyed meeting and talking to, none other than Jimmy Cricket. Welcome to the dressing room of the Regent Theatre, Christchurch, where I'm now joined by comedy legend, Jimmy Cricket. It may have been leg end, I'm not quite sure, Jimmy.
But you're my own lunchtime.
You're the one that do the jokes anyway, not me. So.
Good to see you, Doug.
Hey, it's great to see you. Thank you very much for taking time out of quite an extensive variety tour over different parts of the country, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Last night we were in Worthing, and today obviously we're in Christchurch, and tomorrow Weston-super-Mare.
Right, that's quite a journey from here. Yeah.
Well, you've got to get the old sat-nav. And
tell us, you're born into quite a large Irish family.
Yeah.
I think. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Yeah, well, we had three, John, Brian, Kieran, my brothers, my sister Mary, obviously my mum and dad. Now, my father was a great entrepreneur. It was a little town in Cookstown where I sort of saw the light of day. Cookstown is sort of slap bang in the middle of Northern Ireland. It's mid-Ulster, and it boasts the sort of widest main street, actually, I think, maybe Europe, but definitely the United Kingdom. And my father did three things. He was an undertaker first, right? And he used to say to people, you can count on me, I'll be the last one to let you down. So that was my father. I must tell you a lovely. Can I tell you a lovely story?
Come on, you're going to tell me whether I say yes or no, aren't you?
But it's so good, because when I go on Irish radio station, there's always some of the older people or handed down to say, I remember your father, Frank. Oh, he was a case, and they'll regale this wonderful story of my old man. It just gives me great feel-good feeling that he brought so much happiness. He actually. As well as being the undertaker, he was a publican and he had a taxi service, and he actually was a local auctioneer. But his main, obviously, business was undertaking, and he actually got a Rolls Royce brought over, and this was like early 40s. Rolls Royce brought over from England and had it all done up as a hearse to give people a good send-up. Right, he's driving back from the funeral, and this is just, 43, war still on. A couple of American soldiers are based nearby, thumbing a lift. So he said, yeah, get in the back, and he's driving them. And then after a couple of miles, they say, okay, Mac, we're here, just drop us off. So they get out.